John aren't here today?
Well, I think we're disappointed that Zach got hurt and he's not here. I'm not disappointed that Chris' wife is fine and had 2 babies and he's there. I know a little more than I'm going to let on here about what's going on. I'm disappointed that John's not here. I think that we all get advice along the way and heed some of it and some we don't. I think he got some bad advice and it's one of those things. We'll move on, and it's unfortunate.
How was the news delivered to you? Did they call?
Which part?
As far as John and Manny, was it individually?
I've communicated with both of them. So is Bobby. Bobby's close to him. John's tough, because John's one of those guys that if somebody over there asks him, said he doesn't have a phone, he hands him his phone and he gets another one. Then he hands another one his phone, gets another one. He goes through 4 or 5 in all season. So, getting a hold of him is kind of tough. Usually we go through his mom, but I talked to his agent, and he made me aware of the advice he gave John. So we'll live with it and move on. I look at a lot of FanFests around and I don't really care how many people are missing from other people's FanFest or whatever. It's a couple days out of your life, and I enjoy it. Usually I found things that people may think is not. If you actually embrace it and look at it, you can actually have some fun at it, which I choose to do. But I don't know. I made a lot of decisions that I look back on, wish I hadn't when I was 25.
Are there reasons for being here satisfactory to you or the club in terms?
Which one?
Why John or Manny aren't here?
John, I'm not. Manny has. It's one of those things I've learned through the years to kind of, before you knee jerk with stuff, so I've gotten a feel for what Manny's absence is about, and I have a pretty good understanding of that. John's, I don't. The reasons I'm being given, not very good.
Look, I know you were talking to fans about, don't judge what's going on in January, and this team kind of builds a roster year-round. But when you look at where things are right now and how close you are to spring training starting, is there any anxiety, concerns at all?
I don't know about anxiety. I had a meeting with our staff yesterday, the coaching staff and trainers, our advanced people, everybody in the locker room. And, we got 35 pitchers coming to camp, more than, I think, the history of the Orioles. I don't think we've ever had that many. And, we're staying focused on the people that are here right now and trying to see if certain people can go to another level. If someone else shows up along the way. And, you guys know, you see the people out there and how many chairs there are. There's going to be some people out there that, but we're not looking at 1 signing or 2 signing. As a coaching staff, we don't. We got to be as good, if not better, than we've ever been this year. And it can be done, but I don't have those feelings. Especially getting down to spring training and seeing some of the work these guys done. I spend a lot of time. You see what's going on with Mike Wright and different guys. I can give you 10. Spend a lot of time talking to Nestor Cortes and a lot of our guys last night and seeing what they've done. The offseason that Richard Blyer's had. Michael Gibbons, best shape I've seen him in a long time. So I choose to live in that world instead of coveting all these things. We've got plenty of resources to do more than compete.
Hey Buck, what's your goals?
Pardon?
What are your goals for spring training for the team? Your
goals?
Goals.
Well, I think I've been proud of where we are when we come out of spring training every year and the start that we get off to. I want to continue that. And spring training is a big part of that, and having the pace to prepare instead of trying to get ready. We all know spring training is about a week, 10 days too long, but it's actually starting earlier this year because the off days mandated in the new basic agreement. And we only have 4 days before we have to play games down there. And then we have a split squad the second day. Not very smart, but that's why we're going to have the mini camp. And I would caution the fans about going on the road to watch our guys play unless they want to see Mountcastle and Mullins and all those guys, which I would want to see. But we just can't. The way the schedule's set up, it's a challenge to get a club ready. This is probably one of the more challenging spring training schedules I've seen to get a club ready.
But with Manny, do you feel that do you want something to be resolved, or will it be a distraction? I mean, will he be traded?
I've talked to Manny's. I think he's primed to have a great year for us. As good as all the stars are aligned, as good as they can be. he understands that when you're a good player, he knows what's going on. You know, he's gonna do well in his career. We'd like for it to be here. If it's not, it's just the lay of the land. We got one of the biggest, I think the biggest payroll we've ever had is the Orioles last year. So I don't, you know, I don't covet other people's players or payrolls. And Manny's going to do. I'm more interested in how he's going to play this year and what he's going to do for us. And same way with John and Chris and Zach and all these guys. But I don't look at it as a distraction. That's part of it. You know, I asked him when I was talking about this. It's got anything to do with, you know, answering the questions about possibility of trade or free agency or what position you're going to play. He goes, no, that's part of it. And I really believe him. He's, you know, the reason he got for not being here are very legit. Trust me.
Where's Manny going to play?
He's going to play shortstop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where does that leave Tim Beckman in your mind?
Probably third base. I've talked to Tim some. You know, we're gonna shake it out. I think Tim is capable of playing third base, but we'll see. But there could be some adjustments down in the spring. Maybe we don't like the feel of it or whatever, but that's where we're going to head into it. And there's a chance that we could adjust from there. But you know, I've talked to Manny and Tim about it, and we think it's our best setup right now.
What was Tim's reaction?
Well, I think Tim would rather play shortstop, as Manny would, as Mountcastle would, as you know, we all want to. But Tim's I think his big thing is getting an opportunity to play every day at one position instead of, you know, I've heard people talk, boy, he'd be a great guy that could play somewhere all around, including I thought about that. But I don't think that, I think mentally for a guy that's got potential to lead off, I think we need to settle both those guys into a spot and get after it. I think they're capable of playing both of them.
How did you think the fan interaction went? What was your approach coming in, knowing that, you know, when you got the news about Manny and
I've known about that. I told him a while ago I thought that was going to happen, especially after talking to him. But, you know, what was the reaction? What?
As far as the questions that came your way?
No, it's good. There'll be more.
What you
I hope so.
anticipated?
Oh, yeah. They care, you know. And but there's a lot of good people here, you know. You know, guys would like to be here. Sometimes it's just a part of life. I spent the last 2 or 3 days looking at other teams, and some of them don't even have a FanFest, and all the people that were not there. And I kind of get to the point where who cares how they're doing it somewhere else? You know, it doesn't. I know it's important to our fans, but I think we've always been talking about things like this every year, I believe.
Have you talked to Manny like before?
How do we define talking these days?
Did you, when you told him obviously the news and you discussed about him
Which
playing
news?
shortstop?
Oh, we've been talking about it for a while. It's not something we're just springing here today.
Has he been training differently, knowing that he's playing shortstop? Trying to get in different
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's in, you know, all indications, talking to people, seeing him, everything. He's really excited about this, and I can't imagine him being a better frame of mind or physically set up to do this. And it's I think out of his respect for JJ, last few years, obviously, he's been very professional about it, but you know, it's not like he's changing position. He's going back to the position that he was equipped to play.
Two more. Buck, as
Three
far
more.
as the market's going,
Market?
yeah, the whatever you want to call it, it's not moving too quickly. Could there be a flurry maybe right during or before spring training, you think?
Flurry? Does that mean more than one? We
Yes.
had a deal yesterday, didn't we?
You did.
Can you
pronounce
pronounce
that guy's name? I was going to ask you. You're going to.
No, I was thinking about it last night. No, I'm not going there yet, and be wrong. I got Cortez down, so I'm good with that one. Y'all got a chance to talk to him yet? It's pretty engaging.
But you value infield defense so much, but moving those two guys around to maybe what isn't their natural positions.
Well, I disagree. It is Manny's natural position, and Manny's basically played shortstop in the shift for 3 or 4 years. And I think we're moving Manny back to his natural position, and Tim's been playing a lot of places. So, you know, I know how important Manny is to our team, and I think he can be the most impactful there, especially with the loss of JJ. Because I don't want to underestimate. That's a huge loss. Everybody talks about this and that, and I know JJ had some injury issues along the way here recently in his tenure here, but we need to. We had some challenges there without JJ, and Manny, I think, is our best option to, and Tim could do it too. But I think it's when I think about moving infielders like John Scope and Manny and Tim, I don't look at it as position change. They're just too talented. They can play about it. I think There's a shortstop for Cincinnati. They're going to play at third base. It's like Manny. That's why I felt like Manny could play third. And the question I remember was, what makes you think he can play third after playing shortstop his whole life? So I feel pretty confident about him going over. And there's a whole bunch of want to with him at shortstop.